Hey, yeah. Could you just say your name and your position in the music industry and what you do?
My name is Will Strickland. I am the president of UMAC, the Urban Music Association of Canada. We are the lone music industry service provider for urban cultural practitioners.
What does urban cultural practitioner mean?
Someone who is looking to find some modicum of success in urban music in this country, and in a country that's really not designed for them to win at all. There are no quote-unquote urban radio stations here, but there are a great deal of urban artists here in Canada who are most often looking to jump across the 49th parallel and find some success there when they should be able to find some here at home. Urban music in this country, which is most often categorized as rap, R&B, and reggae, along with some other fringe musics or fringe genres, however it's put, made up for, in the past 2-3 years, has made up for I would say 15% of the entire market share of all music sold in Canada, which is number 2 behind alternative, and number 2 is alternatives at 22%, and urban music is at 15%. You would think that alternative music, with all the outlets from a visual and an audio standpoint, and infrastructure for live music performance all across this country, would have a higher market share than that. Now, there would be naysayers that say, okay, well, most of that urban music that's sold in Canada is from the US or somewhere else. And I would tell them they're absolutely right. But if you believe that Nickelback and Sloan and Theory of a Dead Man sold all the alternative music in Canada, you would be wrong too. Most of that comes from the UK and the US as well. So if you're dealing with the same paradigm, if you have the same dynamic at play for urban music, I would suggest, and I would even predict, that the market share would grow almost threefold.
Okay, so do you think that the taste of the like the market is dictated by, like, do you think the Americans are usually the leaders in music? Like, they seem to dominate.
Absolutely. Like I said, when you have the world's biggest propaganda machine, you dictate and determine what we eat, sleep, think. You know, it's just what it is. It is a situation until there's some sort of separation. You know, I always say that propaganda is all in who's telling the story. Where we might say that, you know, there are Islamic fundamentalists who are looking to destroy, you know, the great nation state of the United States of America, there the news may be is that it's in reverse. That the United States is looking to destroy the great nation state of Iraq, or whatever the case may be. So it's all in who's telling the story. Obviously, the people with the biggest guns and the biggest cameras and the most distribution arms for distributing that message are going to dominate the thinking and the actions that go along with that image that they're beaming to, or that music, or that song, or that ideology that they're beaming to. And it's the United States.
Okay, so what do you think of file sharing, and when does it become illegal and unauthorized file sharing, and when is it good for publicity? Like, where's the line drawn?
That's murky water right there to me, to a degree. I think if you're flagrant and you're not trying to support the artist to a degree, if they have something that's you know, here's an exclusive download that you can get online, take that. But you know, it's really difficult to say. I mean, when you have a huge artist, you know, Kid Rock will say, "Hey, download my music." You know, I'm still rich. I'm still gonna sell 8 million records as opposed to 10 million. So it's another 2 million records I lost online. Okay, it's a really difficult thing to say. I mean, if you're an indie artist, if I'm DJ Snotty Nose and MC Don't Know What to Say, and we're on, you know, we're at Kazaa or SoulSeek, somebody's swapping, please do it. If we're trying to open up China, and I was at a conference and I spoke and I said, if we sold Canadian urban music product to 1/2 of the entire Chinese population, that's over 600,000 units sold. And if somebody wants to bootleg some artist from Canada that nobody's ever heard of, so what? Let them bootleg you. If you have an opportunity to be exposed, then do that. So it's a fine line. It's those artists that are in the middle, that are emerging, that are starting to tour and create a fan base and need that revenue to exist. Those are the ones that are being marginalized by the file sharing, illegal file sharing. And it does make it difficult for them to have a career. And maybe my biggest issue is, while there should be some legislation, by the time the legislation reaches us, it's obsolete because the technology has moved on 4 or 5-fold. So maybe a solution to this would be to create legislation that gives you some structure, but is also open-ended with caveats that help you to change as the technology changes, and that the ratification of these caveats and these changes are congruent with the changes in the technology. Does it sound like, a little utopian? Perhaps, but it may be an alternative, a solution to the issue that stands right now.
Okay, well, but you're talking about individuals downloading, right? Compared to the DJs and the radio and the club that they do it, they broadcast it, one song, and meanwhile when individuals download it, they're considered unauthorized, or the websites that try to promote the songs.
Well, most of the DJs and radio stations and stuff that download music are downloading the most popular artists. They're not taking DJ Snotty Nose and MC Don't Know What to Say and saying, I'm going to put this in major rotation. You know, if they're taking a chance on an indie artist, it's normally through some personal relationship. It's a community thing. That happens so rarely now, where there was a time that the artist had to go from a grassroots level and they made it to a club level, and the radio DJs heard about it, and then they started to play it on radio. Then they had an opportunity to tour or to showcase to a record label. Then they got a deal, then they got a video, then they got to tour even more extensively because they had a larger corporation moving them across the globe or across the country or even across the city, whatever the case may be. But that's changed now that television and radio kind of determine and dictate who these artists are going to be, who these 12 artists on every homogenized playlist across the country are going to be. And those are the people that they might say, oh, well, we're trying to nurture this emerging talent and make them our super duper stars, and then there'll be others after that. But that rarely if ever happens.
So some of this actually did help the careers of unknown artists. This sharing of files, they actually,
I would say so, yeah,
helped
absolutely.
the careers.
Absolutely. It's, like I said, it's murky water. It's a fine line that you have to dance, and I think, like I said, the emerging artists who are starting to make a living from their art, who don't have to work a second or a third job to support their art and support themselves and the family if they have one, are the ones who are most hurt by the file sharing.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you.